Certainly. So we will call our meeting to order. It's 2:02 on Monday the 13th. And as you guys can see, I am traveling home from Las Vegas. So I have asked our vice chair to run the meeting since she is in person. So I'm going to hand the meeting over to Vice Chair Misuse.
Thank you, Chair Benton. And America, if you could please call roll.
Darren Balaam.
Here.
Ivy Badmall.
Here.
Scott Benton.
Here.
Lorraine Benuto. She was not able to come. Charlene is not able to be present. Liz Flores.
Present.
Jessica Gogachia.
Present.
Amber Joyner.
Here.
Leanne McCauley Larson.
Here.
Peg Samples.
Present.
Natalie Sanchez.
Here.
Misty Von Allen.
Here.
Roll call has been taken.
Thank you, America. So we'll move on with the agenda. Item 2.01, approval of the minutes of the November 8th, 2021 Safe and Healthy Schools Commission meeting for possible action. America, is there any public comment?
There is no public comment at this time.
Thank you. For commissioners, are there any edits to the minutes? America, I found one on page 10. Second paragraph, Commissioner Benuto talks about ethnic disparities. I think it is meant to be ethnic disparities. I could be wrong. Thank you.
All right.
If no changes to the minutes, is there someone who would like to make a motion?
I, Natalie, move that the Safe and Healthy Schools Commission approve the minutes from November.
And just to clarify, is that with the proposed amendment?
With the proposed amendment.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second the motion.
Thank you, Commissioner Benton. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, moving on to 2.02, discussion of the Washoe County School District's participation for the 11th year in the International Walk to School celebration, which occurred on October 6, 2021. For information and discussion only, may we please have MJ Cloud, Director of Safe Routes to School, come up, and if you don't mind introducing your fellow presenter.
It's Robbie Pape, Safe Routes Coordinator for Washoe County School District.
Thank you both.
Yes, good evening. Thank you for having us, and also thank you for your continued support today. We wanted to come here today to talk about the Safe Routes and not just the program, but specifically the Walk to School Day. Nationally this year, it was held on October 6th. We like to keep it in line with the National Day. Unfortunately, this year we were on fall break during that time frame. We still wanted to have it. We think it's important to get the awareness out there and continue to do it. So we actually moved it to September 29th this year. So our local national Walk to School Day was on the 29th. So after putting that out, we had 12 schools participate, 10 of which participated on the 29th. 2 of which kind of did a hybrid thing. There were some conflicts there, but in total we had 12 schools. We had over 1,500 students that participated in the Walk to School Day. It was a huge success. We had media events that covered it at various locations. We had 8 elected officials from city, county, and with the school district that participated. The superintendent participated, the chief of police. Obviously, we were all in attendance as well as principals and staff, so it was really good. The reason for it and kind of why we do it is awareness, right? We know that we have students that walk and bike to school on a daily basis, and we want to get safety messages out there. And this gives us the opportunity to really do that, not only in person, but through media events and various things like that. So we find that it's extremely important. We're on our 11th year, going into our 12th. Some of the things that we tell the kids when we do it is to wear visible colors, to look both ways before crossing, to lock eyes with motorists. We also want to get that message out to parents that it is safe for kids, to walk to and from school. That's our job, working with RTC and NDOT to ensure that engineering of streets and sidewalks and things like that. So if there is a question as to why are we doing this, well, we do it for the safety reasons. We also do it for the health benefits of kids walking to and from school, as well as lower admissions within our environment, to even go into lower fuel costs for parents that want to drop off, or lower fuel costs for the districts as well. So there's a lot of benefits from it. Unfortunately, this year, we also keep crash data. Unfortunately, this year, we've already had 8 incidents. Thankfully, 6 of them were rather minor. We have had 2 that were kind of a little bit more. 2 weeks. Was that me? Sorry. 2 weeks ago, we had a young girl hit in a crosswalk. Her injuries were described as life-altering injuries. Her femur was shattered and a growth plate and 1 broken leg. So it is happening out there, and we need to do our best to continue to try to make that a success. We have a couple videos we'd like to show. I don't want to end on such a negative note.
Either one.
What do we do when we get to an intersection? We look both ways. That's what I'm talking about. Good job. Do we stay on the sidewalks? Yes, that's right.
It's really important for our school because we're a walking school, so 90% of our kids are walking to school. So it's extremely important to know the safety rules to keep everyone safe on their way here and from school. They are amazing. Our school and our community is pretty incredible. I'm a little biased, but they are an amazing school. It's a really nice, tight little community, and that makes all the difference. The best part of my job of being a principal is the kids and our families, and being there for them and supporting their successes and helping them through their challenges. This is helping them because now they are reinforced with those looking both ways. Make sure you're aware of your surroundings, make sure you stay on the sidewalks and not running across the streets. And it's just a nice little reminder that they need every now and then.
While she's getting that going.
Reno Police Chief Jason Soto, and today was Walk to School Day, and myself and Councilwoman Breckus got to walk to school with all of the wonderful kids of Mount Rose Elementary right behind us, and just talk to them about safety tips and how to get to school safely and cross the street safely. And it's just a great time to meet with the youth of our community.
So this is a nationwide day of safe routes to school, walking to school, raising awareness to students to develop those good pedestrian habits that are lifelong, see and be seen, and also to the larger community to know that the students are out there. Click your brain over when you're in your car that others are walking, and slow down for them, look out for them, particularly with the time change. That's when most people are most vulnerable, and we're coming up on the time change, and people need to see and be seen as pedestrians and drivers.
So MJ Cloud, the program director for Safe Routes to School, and yes, I'd love to make sure everybody gives Officer Pape a warm welcome. He had to interview and was chosen for the position he's in, and we couldn't be more excited. Having him in the program with us now, the program has 2 employees, And with COVID in the last 2 years, it's given us the opportunity to put together an online education program. And we're looking forward to 22-23. We'd like to secure a spot in whatever platform that superintendent does use to communicate with the principals, because we have those lesson plans ready to go. We also have the event information can go out with that, and we can do fun games and interactive things like what's called an online escape room, where students will give an answer and it lets them get one more clue and they get to get out of the room. But the videos are important. It shows the connectivity between all of the jurisdictions. And there's something that isn't always brought to attention, and that's that the school district, we have schools that are in the, we have Sheriff Balaam on the board, schools that are participating that are Washoe County deputies. We have the Reno Police Department, Sparks Police Department, and the school police all working side by side. We also have NHP because they're part of one of our grants to reduce speed in the school zones. The only time you see that sort of connectivity across the board with jurisdictions is somewhere here when it comes to our students that are all across the board, or if a casualty or a mass negative event is going to happen in the area, then everyone comes together. So being able to also have events like this, and it brings the elected officials, the police departments, the staff, the students, the community together in a positive way, it helps send the messages out and make awareness even more so.
Thank you as always, MJ, and welcome Officer Pape. Are there any questions for the commission for our wonderful presenters?
I have one.
Oh,
I don't know if
thank
you can see my hand raised.
Yes, go ahead, Commissioner.
Thank you. When I saw this on the agenda, I thought, oh, I didn't know it happened this year because I didn't get any notification from my 2 kids' schools. But now I hear that there were 12. So I'm just curious. I mean, I think it's a fantastic program, and I really appreciate all the work you're doing. So I'm wondering why all the schools don't participate, and why the 12? Were they selected, or did they self-select? I'm just curious how to get more schools involved in the future.
I appreciate the question. And again, the awareness gives us the opportunity to reach out to the top and work down. In 2018, we had already worked with the administration and the leadership group, and we were able to make Safe Routes to School a policy. But with all other policies in the school district, there is no one to come back and enforce it. So what Safe Routes has done is we go in very gently and we ask that schools participate. And as an assisting reward system, if you see the tall yield to a pedestrian and a crosswalk signs, if you see stop signs, if you see yellow vests with the school district on the back, or the be safe, be seen, those are grants that we write, and we give those supplies to the schools in an attempt to not just ask of them, but also to assist them with the programs that they should be and could be running. The schools are tapped. They have a lot on their plate. Principals move, which is why we went with the policy, because one principal may have a solid Safe Routes program and then go to a new school and have to start all over. Or a principal is new and doesn't know anything about it, and then the program that was existing falls apart. So it is important that we get the support from the commissioners, and we appreciate Commissioner Benton and the vice chair and all the commissioners' support, as well as the board of trustees and all of the community elected officials. But it goes in the superintendent's information, it goes through our communications, it goes through a press release on the news, and that's how schools can be given that opportunity to contact us. They're given an event plan, and they go from there.
Thank you. Chair Benton, did you have a question?
It was the same question that Amber had. I am just excited that there were 12 schools this past year that did it facing the pandemic that we are in.
Thank you.
I just want to reiterate the support for the commission, or from myself to MJ and her program, and if there's anything we can do as a commission, please reach out and we'll try our best.
Thank you, Chairman.
Any final questions?
This is Leanne McCulley-Larson. I would just like to thank everybody involved. I personally had experience with this situation this year, or the Safe Routes to School, in that my stepson was walking from my personal residence to school, actually rather a bus stop, and is one of the incidents that's on file for the year where he was hit by a driver who clearly ran a right-of-way in a well-lit area, I'll say. So just want to thank everybody for everyone involved and have personal connection, and we support the work that you're doing.
Thank you. Any other comments?
If I may, Chair.
Yes,
No
please.
questions, just comments, and it's nice to see Officer Pape. I'm not used to seeing you in a nice suit like that. Used to seeing you in your uniform, so you look very nice.
Thank you.
But, MJ does such a spectacular job, and so now that she has a partner with her to make this an even more comprehensive type program, and even though I won't be there as the superintendent, you can count on me, though, to always make sure that this word gets out to our community. And I also say that coming into the winter season, because as we know now, this includes when the streets are covered in snow and the sidewalks, and we've got, snow out on the sidewalks, and so our little ones sometimes go out into the street. And so just for our community to be aware as we move forward into the winter season, that the situation doesn't change any. We still need drivers to really slow down and watch where our students are. But just again, thank you so very, very much for all of your help and support.
I can only hope the new superintendent has as much heart, support, and enthusiasm as Dr. McNeil has had, because we could not have done it without her.
Thank you so much, both of you. And MJ, what wonderful words. I can't thank the superintendent enough, so take good care. Sorry, I can't do that. We're grateful to you all. Okay. Moving on to agenda item 2.03. Update from the Washoe County School District Emergency Management Department, including status of single point of entry projects and the continued implementation of the visitor management system. For presentation and discussion only, presented by Rory Anderson, Emergency Manager, and Teresa Golden, Director of Planning Capital Projects. Please begin.
Roy's nominated me to go first, so I'm Teresa Golden. Nice to meet you all, or see you all. Thank you. So I just wanted to start first by giving a little bit of background on our single point entries for our schools. Back in 2018, when I first started with the school district, I was tasked with providing single point entries on the remaining 25 schools that did not have a single point entry yet. So my team went ahead and designed those, and we had those constructed back in 2020. I think it was the end of 2020 those got completed. So since then, there was discussion of, geez, should we now go back to our oldest schools that, have single points, but are not up to the same level or design standard that we're currently designing our single points at. So we did decide to go ahead and take that to the board and ask for an allocation to start that process. So we did get allocated about $500,000 last July to start that process. So we have about 52 schools. There are elementaries and middle schools that do need some sort of level of improvement to get up to par to where we'd like to see them. So we have about 12 schools in design right now, and those projects will be completed next summer. So we do intend on completing all of those schools over the next approximately 5 years to get them all up to sort of status quo. So that really, in a nutshell, is the update on the single points.
Thank you so much. It's very exciting. Any questions from the commission? Superintendent McNeil?
Teresa, since me. Oh, wait.
I'm not sure if I'm missing something or hard to navigate. All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, so Roy Anderson, Emergency Manager for the district. I'll talk to you regarding Lobby Guard. So just to kind of give you a little bit of history, LobbyGuard is a visitor management software program that the Purchase District, or actually I believe the council purchased it and is in charge of the budget of it. In 2019, 2020, when I came here, they weren't installed yet, so we instituted the project of getting them installed. And most of the schools had them actually installed by early 2020. Unfortunately, there are 20 schools that still need them installed, and that's due to data or power that will allow for the installation. That way the kiosks can be located in the single point of entry. Some of the projects that Teresa had mentioned earlier regarding the update will address a couple of them, but unfortunately most of the schools still need the work done. We did obtain a grant from the state early 2020 or 2019 regarding the fixing of those installations and getting them started, but unfortunately with COVID, that's when the state cut their funding, and we unfortunately lost that grant and was not able to continue with those. In the 2020-21 school year, we did suspend the use of LobbyGuard because of COVID. Obviously, we weren't having visitors, and there was also a high-touch system that we wanted to make sure that we didn't have to clean all the time, and schools were way too busy with some other things. Starting this school year, though, how we did start using LobbyGuard again. Some schools have been a little bit more quick to implement it than others, but as they come online, they need assistance by department. And Michael Perry, our school safety specialist, and I assist them in getting it up and running. We do have, after this school year, one more year, the 2022-2023 school year on the contract. However, just to give the commission a little bit of information, in 2020, LobbyGuard was purchased by a company called Raptor. So if you were to look up LobbyGuard, you would see that it's now currently Raptor is the company that LobbyGuard now falls under. Because of that, Raptor will still honor our contract with LobbyGuard through next school year. However, Raptor is splitting their company, basically, if you will, into two divisions. LobbyGuard was originally designed and created for businesses, so hospitals and the regular businesses, and then they added the schools as a component sometime after the creation of LobbyGuard. Raptor was strictly a school visitor management system. So anything that they do now for schools is the Raptor platform. So what that will affect us by is any updates moving forward, they're only going to update the Raptor system. They're not going to update LobbyGuard. So, for example, the early part of December, they released a new version of Raptor that included some school enhancements where LobbyGuard, even if it needed those type of enhancements, but I didn't do a comparison, so I don't know if it did or not, it wouldn't have mattered. They wouldn't have updated it. We do have Raptor being tested in a few schools. They did offer for us to transfer over to Raptor if we wanted to. There's some contracting, some issues that we have to look out if we want to do that. But before making any type of those decisions, I thought it was best we actually get hey, what are we looking at? What are we comparing? So I do have Raptor being used in a high school, a couple of elementary schools, and a middle school, just so we could see, the ease of use. Does it do what we wanted it to? Just any of those types of implementations. And we are still in the process of testing that. The nice thing that we have found as far as like the comparison between the two is Raptor actually has what they call Raptor University, which is a better online training system than what LobbyGuard has. So Perry and I have really had to get in and delve deep, and luckily we've had some schools that have been really embraced the program. That's helped us as well learn the system, to where in Raptor it's a lot easier just to go through and say, here's what we want to learn, here it is on their website, and that. So we are looking at some of those comparisons as well. If we continue with whatever computer-based visitor management system, one thing we are going to have to look at is a refresh of the computers. All of the computers that are being used right now for Lobby Guard were actually donated by the Washoe County themselves, and so we're already dealing with computers that were 5, 6, 7 years old. I'm not really quite sure how old they were, but as we start progressing and getting further into the program, we are starting to see where we're having some hard drives fail, and luckily we've been able to piece together some of those items through IT, but an actual refresh of the systems is something that would be recommended moving forward. If we look at just like what a normal replacement plan would be, we're looking at a 5-year with a 20% replacement plan. And even then, by that time when we get to the back end of the computers that are out there, we're looking at computers that are probably 10 years or more old. So, there's a potential for some failure if we're going to continue with some type of computer-based visitor management program. And that's the update that I have for Lobby Guard.
Thank you. Chair Benton, do you have a question for Mr. Anderson?
I think it's more for Teresa. Looking at the 52 schools that need to be done, are they, for the single point of entry, are they at some capacity of single point entry, or are they just multiple entries at the schools?
Yes, they are. Thanks for that question. To clarify, all of the elementaries and middles do have some level of single point entry. They, at a minimum, have this sort of what we call the buzz-in function. So yes, they do. So we're upgrading them even further in different various ways. I don't want to reveal too much, really, to in the public kind of forum that we're in, but upgrading them to current levels that is closer to what you're seeing in the new schools.
Perfect. Thank you for that clarification.
Sure.
Any other questions from the commission?
Misty?
Yes.
I wonder
Dr.
if it would be good for the commissioners if you or Scott or someone who's been with the commission for a while to maybe comment on the need for physical safety, just like we've kind of been moving in the direction of social emotional health. But this commission was born out of a tragedy, so they go hand in hand. And I'm just not sure all the commissioners have a good grasp of what this is all about.
Thank you, Dr. Lamarcus. Chair Benton, do you have some words to share? I can go back to 2014, but I wanted to offer for you first.
Certainly, I can talk to the commission. Really, the single point of entry and the lobby guard or the visitor management system was a strong passion of this commission when I came on in 2017, 2018. And it really was driven out of we wanted to control who was entering our schools and having an understanding of who was there for the sake of the safety of the students. And I think this was a passion of the commission for a long time, so I would hate to see it go away. I would like to enhance it. If I speak from my experience on the commission, it was very much a passion of the commission under Chair Rosario, and I think we need to remember that there are incidences that cause us for a need for the visitors management system, and I just don't want that to go to waste.
Thank you, Chair Benton. And I'd love to add, I began in 2014 with Chair Ruggiero, and it was incredibly important for the majority of the commissioners to work on the physical plant. And that's where your work has been so crucial, and you've done an incredible job. And then we shifted with COVID and the challenges on our mental well-being into the more focus on screening and suicide prevention, social emotional learning, and school safety, school social workers, and that's been wonderful. As we move forward, the two are rising together hand in hand, and so I don't want us to drop the ball on either component now. We need to, as we've seen in the past few weeks, often it's internal, and often there are signs, and we just have to keep the physical safety as well as the recognition when there might be other challenges with our mental health and the students reaching out for each other and for help. I hope that was a good fit. Thank you, Dr. Lamarca. Any further comments from the commission on that topic?
Chair, if I may.
Please, Superintendent.
Roy, I'm curious, as you move forward with Lobby Guard and Raptor, if you could look into, there could be a possibility to where you're not using a hard device such as a laptop or a computer, but there may be technology that would be available on an app so that if somebody were to walk in, you could actually tie it into a system so that the district wouldn't have to keep upgrading that, but that it would be more of an app type service, similar to how we do, Infinite Campus or something such as that. So that's just a thought.
Wonderful suggestion, Superintendent. I love that. Any final comments before we move on? Thank you so much. Let's see if I can say this without foaming at my eyes. On to 2.04, presentation and discussion on efforts aimed at addressing illegal substance misuse in Washoe County School District schools. For presentation and discussion, presented by Catherine Loudon, our counseling coordinator, and her guest from Join Together Northern Nevada. And I will let you introduce.
Thank you so much, Superintendent McNeil and members of the Safe and Healthy Schools Commission. For the record, I'm Catherine Loudon. I have two amazing essential partners. To my left is Roger Botten. He's a counseling specialist in our counseling and social work office. He's also currently the chairman of the board for Join Together Northern Nevada. And to my right is the new executive director of Join Together Northern Nevada, Anne Marie Northen. Many of you may remember Jennifer Gillette Snyder. She has now retired and moved away from the area, and we are so excited to be the ones to introduce you to Anne Marie today and have her a part of this presentation. We have a overview for you and some supporting materials in addition to the PowerPoint. A hard copy has been provided of the Comprehensive Community Prevention Plan from Join Together Northern Nevada, and we can also send it to you electronically. In the field of education, there are many things that we do and that we are experts on that address substance misuse that seem maybe not related to the balance of the public, but I always like to start every presentation about prevention and intervention by pointing out to people that quality instruction and emphasis on teaching and learning, social emotional learning, where we know our students by name and we're addressing their needs, the best practice of quality supervision and family school partnerships, the opportunity of alternative activities like sports and debate and art and electives and connections to careers and a pathway to college all help our students engage in substance misuse prevention. But there are many other areas where we really need to turn to experts in the field as we're addressing prevention, and that's where many of these other partners, can you change my slide? Thanks. That I'm going to introduce you to. Internal and external prevention specialists help connect us to the work. So one thing that Join Together Northern Nevada has done for us is they have opened doors and connected us to the community partners that we need to address the work and to know what to do. So for example, because of Join Together Northern Nevada, there's multiple law enforcement partners that we collaborate with, hospitals, treatment providers, youth serving organizations, and what Join Together often does for us is pull all of those professionals together in a room to talk about our youth, to talk about our families and communities, and to address the issue of substance misuse. So what they do is every 2 years they put together a comprehensive community prevention plan that we participate in that identifies priority risk and protective factors. It looks at a wide variety of different data sources and helps us develop a plan together in Washoe County for what to do to address substance misuse. They also help us with other large initiatives like drug endangered children and some of the connections to things that we are working on with human services, agencies, and hospitals. And so you'll see that Some of our other partners externally, Quest Counseling and Consulting, and though they often serve on Join Together Northern Nevada's meetings, they also are instrumental in helping to connect us when we have a student who needs help related to receiving services. And then the Center for the Application of Substance Abuse Technologies, we're very fortunate to have access to them in Northern Nevada to provide professional development to us at a low cost, and also to consult with us about which types of professional development are best for us. Inside Washoe County School District, we have our intervention department, behavioral, our multi-tiered system of support, family school partnerships, as I mentioned before, human resources, and many other departments that help counseling and social work in this work. When people talk about data as it relates to youth, one thing that they often do is look at the Youth Risk Behavioral Survey. And the Youth Risk Behavioral Survey is used by the Centers for Disease Control and the states and many other partners to look at where we as a nation compare for healthy people to 2020 and now healthy people 2030, and our progress in youth identified factors. But the Comprehensive Community Prevention Plan from Join Together Northern Nevada has data from several of our partners that participate in their planning. So when we recite data specific to youth, you'll see Youth Risk Behavioral Survey specific data. And when we talk about Washoe County and Nevada, you'll hear us mention other data sources. So first of all, the use of alcohol is higher in Washoe County compared to Nevada among middle school students and high school students, as well as adults. That's a concern, and that data is put together through those multiple agencies. But the data that I've put up here for you identifies the increases in marijuana use among our students in middle and high schools. And the Youth Risk Behavioral Survey has so much trend data, you can really analyze that trend data and see those increases, as well as the increase in youth vaping. And with increased availability is increased use, but one priority factor that the Comprehensive Community Plan often addresses is perception of harm. So because our students do not perceive that marijuana or vaping is harmful until we provide an opportunity to re-educate them about that, then often we'll see an increase of that. Prescription drugs and opiate use is also something that we as a district are focused on. And then I wanted to make sure that I added the co-occurring and concurrent relationship between our students who are feeling suicidal and substance misuse. These things do not exist in isolation, so it's important to mention those. Something important also to note related to data is that although in the Comprehensive Community Prevention Plan you'll see some consistencies in trend data, we still identify youth alcohol use as one of the priorities for us to address. Next slide. Some things that Washoe County School District's doing to help us address substance misuse. We just received and have posted and already have applicants for an ESSER-funded specialist for substance misuse who will help us put together some plans, revise what we have in place, address where our strengths and lesser strengths are as we're moving forward, and pull together partners internally in the district and externally. We also have some policies moving forward. We're looking right now at a second approval of Board Policy 5250 and revision, as well as addressing Narcan access on campuses. We have in our school district not only the school social workers and mental health professionals that you mentioned before, we're building and bolstering some of our staff training. We're adding other partners and strengthening some of our relationships with folks such as the Reno Elks, who partner with the DEA and provide us with materials, the Tobacco Coalition and the Health Department. And we're looking at exploring SBIRT, or Screening Intervention Brief Referral to Treatment, at our secondary level. and implementing the new legislation for Senate Bill 69 and the ways that we're addressing substance abuse prevention and intervention in schools. We're currently working on curriculum maps for middle school. Here's one that Keely Killian and the middle school counselors put together. And then worked collaboratively with our social emotional learning department to add this to some of the other curriculum work that they're doing. We're working on one similarly with elementary schools that's comprehensive, and another one that ties to our high school core curriculum as well. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Anne Marie.
Thanks, Catherine. Thank you for having me today. I am thrilled to be here. I'm always thrilled to talk about our programs, and I am excited to start my tenure as executive director and continue a relationship with the school district. I threw our mission up there because I think it's important to note that Join Together Northern Nevada is a coalition, and so we bring community partners together. That's our role in the community, and that's what we've done, as Catherine said, for Washoe County School District, is to be able to connect families, students, and teachers with resources. Go ahead to the next slide. I also wanted you to all start to see our faces. We have a whole new crew at Join Together Northern Nevada. So I am the new executive director. You'll be hearing from, and your teachers will be hearing from all of these new faces. We have also taken on UNR interns to expose them to the idea of prevention and bring people into the workforce. Go ahead. And I'll turn it over to Roger to talk about the programming that we're doing in elementary and high schools.
Yes, thank you. It's so good to see everyone here. I wear two hats. One is in the counseling department. I have elementary schools. And the second is chairman of the board for JTNN. I've been there for, I don't know how long, about 7 years almost there. Do some great work. One of the ways we do that is we provide interventions and curriculum within schools. One of the things we're doing now is brain power within our elementary schools. And it's just changed its name to Mind Matters this year. And this is the data from last year, and I'm really proud of this. It shows, even during COVID, that rate of change we've seen within the elementary schools on our summative test has really improved. We have up to 170%, our lowest is 75%. So we're able to make gains even during COVID. The next slide. And I want to say JTN has helped out the school district in many ways. And this is what we're doing in high school. We're doing life skills. But they've also helped us within our SAP, the Substance Abuse Prevention Program that we had. We had a real struggle doing that. Those were in-person classes that we did with students that had been caught or disciplined for substance misuse within schools. And that was an in-person thing that we had set up, and we weren't able to do that during the pandemic. But JTNN stepped in and helped us continue that, doing some online stuff with those kids. And that really helps us continue. Life Skills is a program we've done, a curriculum we did with middle school, and now we're doing it with high schools, and we're working with that. JTNN has been here with us as a great partner for many years, providing funding for curriculum within our schools, coming in, servicing, coming in, doing trainings with our staff and all that. They've provided money for curriculum for Too Good for Drugs, Second Step, Life Skills, and Paths. And it's really been a partnership I don't know what we could do without within the counseling department to really help us address issues that we wouldn't been able to have the time, knowledge, or in a lot of times the funding to provide for those students. So it's been a great partnership. And next slide.
Okay, I'll go ahead and talk about our successes. I'm thrilled with this year's successes. We've gotten to go into schools, and we've served over 900 students just this fall. 200 elementary students were served through Brain Power, i.e. Mind Matters, and Speak Out, which is our youth program. I'll be delving into that in just a moment. We've served 400 high school students in Sparks and Reno High School this year, and 300 middle school students were also served through Mind Matters. We did expand to the middle school program. I don't believe we've done middle school programming for the past couple of years, and so that was one of my big successes. One of the things that JTNN got to do is to go into Billinghurst Middle School and serve 300 students. I'll go ahead and let Roger talk a little bit, or Roger talked a bit about the SAP program previously. We did come in and do video programming, online programming, so that students could continue to have the support that they needed throughout the pandemic. Go to the next slide. Thank you. Speak Out is our youth program. It's been going on for several years. We have done 20 presentations and counting this year. We have 7 amazing peer mentors. Those students are drawn from local high schools. They represent 4 local high schools currently, so we have a nice diverse group of students. They act as peer mentors, and we work with Team Up in Title I schools after-school programs in order to deliver the Mind Matters curriculum. And so that peer mentorship is a huge part of prevention. When an elementary school student sees a high school student talking about prevention, it's extremely powerful. We know here in Safe and Healthy Schools that parents are one of the most important facets of having a safe and healthy environment for our students. One of the programs that we offer is Super Parent Supervise. It's offered throughout the year as a morning mugs meeting and as an after-school meeting to meet the needs of our parents. There are 2 presentations we currently have for that. One is for drug trends and one is for social media. So it gives parents a chance to see what's going on in their student's life, to realize what they may be exposed to, and to have support in having tough conversations that have to be had. Parent Project is another way that we support our parents. This is specifically for parents who are struggling with adolescent students. So students that may be considered out of control, they're having difficulty with conflict in the home. We provide a 10-week program for those parents. It's an intensive program to help resolve those conflicts, to have tough conversations, and to have a support group for parents to go to as they need.
Again, for the record, it's Catherine Loudon. So you heard a little bit about some of the curriculum and some of the direct service that's provided by our partners through Join Together Northern Nevada. Join Together Northern Nevada also supports our substance abuse prevention and treatment agency grants through the coalition. So many times there are opportunities for Quest, the Children's Cabinet, and other partners to come into our schools and provide direct prevention education. But I think it's also important to note as we go into this next slide that things like Mind Matters, formerly Brain Power, provided by the National Institute of Drug Abuse, are free materials. And so as JTNN comes into the schools with their prevention specialists and partners and helps to deliver the curriculum, our elementary counselors and others and teachers have access to the curriculum and are able to also implement it. And additionally, the life skills curriculum and the supporting materials that go with life skills is aligned with our national and state health standards. And those life skills that are taught in the health classes is a part of the health curriculum and as a part of our ROTC programs implemented in the schools provide quality prevention opportunities that are also there. And when they leave, the curriculum and the learning doesn't disappear. It's something that we're continuing. This slide in particular identifies how Join Together Northern Nevada and some of our partners have come together to put together professional learning opportunities. You've heard about things that were available for parents. A lot of these other items are also available for our staff. So one thing that is not here is that at the beginning of the school year, school counselors, school psychologists, and school social workers were able to benefit from a national speaker on neuroscience and substance misuse, Dr. Elaine Fletzer-Jansen, who Join Together Northern Nevada brought here from the East Coast to host our training. Additionally, they brought together the High Intensity Drug Agency to present to us some of the most important things for us to focus on as a district. Many of these trainings that are coming up on this calendar are things that are provided more than 1 year in a row. For example, Tall Cop is something that Join Together Northern Nevada has been bringing to our community for many years. Next slide.
All right. So JJN has been a great partner, but also a partner who unfortunately couldn't be here today with us is Quest Counseling. They've been a great resource for referrals for students, families who need some intervention with substance misuse. But they're also partnering within our schools, and they're doing a program, Sport Prevention Plus Wellness program. That's just a single 50-minute program, but it emphasizes wellness and activity to help prevent substance abuse. They do some interventions with that and work on physical activity, sports, and how you eat healthy, get sleep. And that's what's a program they're pushing into schools right now with us. So unfortunately, I couldn't be here, but that's another partner that we've worked through, and that was, we met them through J10.
The next slide, please. And yes, Quest Counseling and Consulting, usually Jolene or some of the people from Quest will be there with us when we're presenting to assistant principals or whoever needs support. They're just unable to make it today. This is a picture of our office staff. I thought since Ann Elizabeth presented hers, and you only see ours in pieces, that you could see Eric Olson and Roger Botten and Keely Killian and Beth Schroeder and Tiffany Swikert and Dr. Tammy Golden with Bosco with 504. And with that, I don't know if you have any questions.
Such a wonderful group of humans on that slide. I love working with them. And welcome, Ann Elizabeth. It's so great to meet you and hear the wonderful work. It's more important than ever before. And I will open it up to questions from the commission. Do I have any hands raised in there?
I have a question. Hi, thank you so much for the presentation. Particularly, I was really interested in the parent project and how parents are referred to it or how they get into it and when it's offered, things like that.
Absolutely. That's a great question. We do offer it twice a year. We're just finishing up our fall session of that. It'll begin again probably in April. We have not set a solid date for that, but I'm happy to pass that information on to the school district and anyone else who's interested. We work with Washoe County Health and Human Services, so they pass that information on to foster parents, oftentimes to adoptive parents, things like that. We do, when we're in a school and we're in contact with school counselors, we of course promote that project then. We go to many career fairs and things and meet a wide variety of humans and pass out that information that way. And those are sort of the main ways that we get the word out there and that we market that program. Yep, absolutely, thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you again for joining us today. Have a wonderful holiday.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to 2.05, discussion and possible action to review and schedule the meeting days and times of the Safe and Healthy Schools Commission for the 2022-23 school year, presented by Chair Scott Benton and Vice Chair Misty Allen, but I will turn it over to Chair Benton because we did not have time to discuss this together.
We did not, but I am hoping that everybody has seen the email asking to move our meetings to the third Monday of the month. There's been some conflict and some members of the commission that are unable to meet because of outside commitments. So I wanted to make it fair for all of the commission to have a voice, and we can discuss what will work, what will not work. And then also I can turn it over to Dr. LaMarca for any other comments.
Thanks, Scott. This is Paul. And I do appreciate all the commissioners for responding to that kind of panicked email. Commissioner Beebe hasn't been able to attend because of the shift from the first Monday to the second Monday of the month. Most people were available on the third Monday. There were a couple problems for this particular month. However, after further review from board services, that choice would be not in our best interest. It would knock out about 3 meetings, or at least 2 meetings this spring. There is an option to revert back to the first Monday of the month. If we were to do that, and I do think it would work, if the group wants that, the first opportunity to do that would be in February. It wouldn't be in January. If the commission was to vote to allow that to occur, it might be a bit of a hybrid schedule in the following year, where in the first couple of months of the fiscal year, we might have to meet on the second Monday of the month because of holidays, and then we would go back to the first Monday of the month. So Scott, I just got some of that information today, so I wasn't able to communicate to you, but that's where I believe we're at this point.
Is there any discussion from the commission?
Thank you for that information.
This is Misty Allen. I would recommend reverting back to the first Monday of the month because I feel Commissioner Bybee's just a vital part of this commission.
Paul, I just wanted to alert you, it looks like this is our older version of our agenda because it just has an action item for the 2022-23 school year. So that would be the limit to the vote based on, this is, I guess, what made it to posting, so.
Thank you.
I'm looking on board docs, and actually the one in board docs
Is the updated one?
is the updated one. So the one on 2.05, yeah. Discussion and possible action to review the schedule the meeting dates and times of the Safe and Healthy Schools Commission for the remainder of the 21-22 school year and the 2022-2023 school year for possible action.
Okay, as long as that was the posted one. It looks like we presently have the older version here.
Yeah.
But if that's the posted one, then I think we're okay for that action item to include this spring.
Thank you, Superintendent. Are there any other points of discussion? America, is there any public comment?
There's been no public comment.
Would someone like to make a motion?
I'll go ahead and make the motion that we adopt the presentation that our Vice Chair, Misty Von Allen, has presented as our motion.
So Chair Benton made the motion to revert to the first Monday of the month through the 2021-22 school year and 22-23 school year. Is there a second?
I, Natalie Sanchez, second.
All in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion carries. Thank you, everyone. Okay, we have 2.06, discussion and possible action to schedule a work session of the Safe and Healthy Schools Commission to establish the commission goals for the 2022-23 school year for possible action, presented by me. And I know, after talking with Dr. LaMarca, and I know Scott and I had, Chair Benton and I had discussed this many months ago, knowing we need some direction. We've been doing great work and doing a lot of updating and follow-up, but we need a focus for moving forward. But this might have to come in the form of utilizing one of these commission meetings in the next few months, maybe in January, to pull those goals and objectives together. Chair Benton, did you have anything you wanted to state on that?
No, I think you did great. Thank you.
So in light of that, I guess I'll turn over to Dr. LaMarca. Would we have time to schedule something for January, or would we need to go out further?
Thank you. I think that if it's Scott's pleasure, if it's the pleasure of the commission to dedicate the full meeting to this, we might just stick with our meeting time. That would give us approximately 2 hours. Certainly, with the direction of the commissioner, the chair, we could try and maybe organize some material in advance, get it out to commissioners just to get people thinking, so that when we were to come in January, we would hit the ground running and make it as productive as possible. I do want to remind everyone, though, in January we would still be the second Monday of the month. I think we're January 9th. January 10th. Thanks. But I think 2 hours, and then if we need more time, we could move forward. Certainly it ought to give us some direction.
Thank you, Dr. Lamarca. Chair Benton, any thoughts?
Yeah, I agree with that. I would just like to add that maybe we can pair it with our planning of the safety forum, since that is Commissioner Joyner, when she brought it to our last meeting, she wanted the goal set before we started planning. So I think they can go hand in hand at our next meeting, just so that we aren't losing time on the planning process of our safety forum. So if we set goals and then start planning what speakers, what topics, that sort of thing that we want at our safety forum, I think we can do that in 2 hours. But I just want to make sure that the commission as a whole sets some goals so that we have some focus in year 2022.
Thank you, Chair Benton. Is there any further comment from the commissioners? Commissioner Joyner, you're a bit fuzzy. Yes. Is there any public comment, America, on 2.06?
There is not.
So I believe we are ready to have a motion for.
Sorry, I was trying to change my speaker. Can you hear me now?
Yes, thank you, Commissioner Joyner. Go ahead.
Well, it's a huge delay. Okay. I think that sounds like a topic for our next meeting.
If there's anyone that can translate Commissioner Joyner's motion, that would be very helpful. I cannot read. Commissioner.
This is Amber. I just switched speakers. Is this better?
That is excellent. Thank you. Please carry on.
I'm so sorry. On Teams, I can never get the right microphone on. Okay. I was just saying simply that I think that sounds great, what Chair Benton said, that if we do both topics at our next meeting, I was going to make a motion. So I move that we do both brainstorming and planning for our forums at the next meeting, second week in.
Thank you. Is there a second to Commissioner Joyner's motion?
I second.
All in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. And aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion carries. Thank you so much. So our final agenda item, 2.07, is discussion and possible action to determine tentative content, logistics, and marketing of the 2022 Annual Safety Forum. Do we need to table this in light of the next meeting then?
Sure.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to table this till our January meeting.
Thank you, Chair Benton. Is there a second?
I will second.
Thank you, Commissioner Sanchez. All in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries to table this agenda item. Final closing items. Is there any public comment? No, Vice Chair, there is not. Very quiet public today. Thank you so much. Our, just double checking. Okay, 3.02. Our next meeting is January 10th, 2022. I call the meeting adjourned at 3:05. Quick one. I wish everyone wonderful holidays, safe and peaceful. You need much well-deserved rest. Thank you, commissioners, for everyone turning in today, and I look forward to seeing you in the new year.